You and your party are off on a grand adventure in the vast oceans of the world, when you see an island off in the distance that seems to be keeping pace with your ship. Yes, today we are covering one of my all-time favorite monsters in Dungeons & Dragons, and the culprit of one of my most favorite encounters I've ever watched in Critical Role. Today we are talking about the Dragon Turtle. Hello and welcome to Dungeon Deep Dive, where we talk about all things D&D, from monsters and their lore to news and updates and tips and advice for anyone interested in Dungeons & Dragons and want to give it a try. In today's video, we are talking about the gargantuan king or queen of the ocean, the Dragon Turtle. D&D is not the only place where dragon turtles exist. They are also in Chinese mythology. They symbolize courage, determination, fertility, longevity, power, success, and support. And they also appear in Mario. You know the bad guy that everyone loves to hate, Bowser? He's in a sense a dragon turtle. But back to D&D, the Dragon Turtle has been with Dungeons & Dragons since the very beginning, starting in the 1977 Dungeons & Dragons Monster Manual. These little beauties, obviously by the name, are far off relatives to dragons, but only by blood. They appear as gargantuan-like turtles with long spiked tails and elongated necks, long razor-sharp talons on their flippers. The head of the dragon turtle tends to have a crest of spiky protrusions and horns down the center of the head. Dragon turtles do have scales similar to other dragons that are smooth and greenish in color to help blend in with the ocean floor. But over time, as they grow older, the scales become more coarse and fragile until they shed their scales. But by this time, they are so brittle they just practically turn to dust. The shell is also very streamlined for fast movements in the ocean currents with jagged protrusions. And the shell is also in a slightly different shade of green to their skin to help even more with camouflage in the ocean. If anyone manages to grab a piece of a dragon turtle shell, it can be used to make shields which are resistant to fire and steam damage, but also for protective casings for special items like books and jewelry. Similar to their distant cousins, dragon turtles have a huge obsession with treasure and scour their territory hunting down ships and shipwrecks at the bottom of the ocean for their contents to fill up their hoards. Dragon turtles are very solitary creatures but are very aggressive. They will hunt down any ship and even other dragon turtles that happen to cross into their territory. If you're lucky enough to escape the ire of a dragon turtle or do one wrong, pray that you never have to set out on the ocean again, because they are known to hold grudges out for anyone or anything that does them wrong.
I chased for days for vengeance.
There's only one time where a dragon turtle would let another dragon turtle enter the territory, and that's for mating purposes. But even once the deed is done, they will quickly separate before things get too nasty. With their immense size and insanely tough shells, when chasing a ship, they ram the ship with its shell and capsize it for easy pickings. With their love for treasure, some cities and islands are known to pay off the dragon turtle for safe passage through its territory, or even for protection. They are carnivorous creatures that will eat anything or anyone, even other dragon turtles if the opportunity presents itself. In desperate times for food, they would be known to use their steam breath to attack seabirds to knock them into the water for a quick snack. Sahugans, which are fish-like monstrous humanoids that live in the oceans, would go as far as employ the dragon turtle for mercenary work to help them assault coastal settlements and towns in exchange for a share in the spoils. Moving on to the lairs of a dragon turtle, they tend to be in caves at the bottom of the ocean or in coral reefs to help hide and protect its treasure. Some are known to make their lairs close to coastal land or settlements, but only because they will probably be getting payment and tribute from nearby settlements for safety. When it comes to making their lairs, dragon turtles don't really go for style or presentation. All they really concern themselves with when making their lairs is if the lair is big enough for their enormous bodies as they grow through the centuries, and of course, their treasure. In the book Fizban's Treasury of Dragons, which is actually a great book by the way, I would highly recommend giving it a read if you haven't, a dragon turtle's lair doesn't really get any lair actions until they reach adult or ancient level. If one manages to reach this level of power, they get the following lair actions. They get the blasting current action, which is a strong water current moves through the dragon turtle's lair. Each creature within 30 feet of the dragon turtle must succeed on a DC 15 strength saving throw or be moved 30 feet in a direction of the dragon turtle's choice. On a success, a creature is moved only 10 feet instead. They'll also have the entangling kelp action. Strands of spectral kelp reach out to ensnare creatures in a 20-foot radius sphere centered on a point in the lair that the dragon turtle can see. Each creature in that area must succeed on a DC 15 strength saving throw or be restrained until the end of its next turn. Then we have steam eruption. Steam erupts in a 15-foot cone from a point on the ground the dragon turtle can see within 120 feet. Each creature in the area must make a DC 15 Constitution saving throw, or take 6d6 fire damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful. And being underwater does not grant resistance to the damage. As well as lair actions, they also get regional effects for the area surrounding their lair. They get an effect called diverting currents, where underwater currents push unwanted visitors away from the lair, and while swimming in these currents, each foot of movement costs you 1 extra foot, which is essentially rough terrain even if the creature has a swimming speed. It also gets an effect called elemental portals, where crevices on the ocean floor within 1 mile of the dragon turtle's lair form two-way portals to the elemental plane of water, allowing creatures of elemental water into the world to dwell nearby. Then it gets this final effect, hot water. Geothermal vents heat the water within 6 miles of the dragon turtle's lair to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. That's hot. And if the dragon turtle dies in its lair, these effects fade over the course of 1d10 days. They also, because of their draconic blood being naturally accustomed to the arcane, have the ability to use a couple of spells once they reach young dragon turtle and higher. The spells being Fog Cloud once it reaches the young status. At adult level, it gains the Control Water spell as well as the Fog Cloud spell. And at ancient level, as well as the previous spells, they also get the Control Weather spell. That is a nasty spell. Since the dragon turtle, like other dragons, have different stat blocks for different stages in its life, I'll go over each stat block so you have the full lifespan of these beauties. Starting with the dragon turtle wormling, bear in mind this is a wormling, so it's a little baby. It sits at 18 AC and 90 hit points. Even though these guys are in the baby stage, they're still a chunky stack of hit points. Surprisingly, well, this shocked me, being creatures of the ocean, they're resistant to fire damage all the way to adulthood, where when they hit ancient, they gain the ability to become resistant to cold as well as fire. Wormlings have a challenge rating of 4 and have a bite attack and get their breath weapon, which is a steam breath attack. The bite attack deals 1d12 plus 3 piercing damage, and their steam breath attack exhales scalding steam in a 15-foot cone. Creatures in that area must make a DC 12 dex save or take 5d6 fire damage on a failed save, or half on a successful one. Moving on to the next stage of the dragon turtle's life, we have the young dragon turtle. Moving up 1 AC, giving it a total AC of 19, and a jump in hit points to 178. That's nearly double. Their challenge rating jumps to 10. And they get access to their claw attacks and also the multi-attack. Its bite attack changes to a 1d12 plus 5 piercing damage, but also deals 1d12 lightning damage on top of that. The claws on the young dragon turtle deal 1d8 plus 5 slashing, and their breath weapon saving throw DC increases to 16, and the cone extends to 30 feet and now deals 12d6 fire damage instead of 5d6. When the dragon turtle hits adult status, it becomes the dragon turtle shown in the 5th edition D&D monster manual, sitting at an even 20 AC and a chunky 341 hit points. You better be ready for a fight, because these guys will not go down quick. With a challenge rating of 17, these beasts are on the same level as a Garistro or Androsphinx. They have all the attacks of the young dragon turtle with a multi-attack with their claws and bite, or it can make 1 tail attack in place of 2 claw attacks. The tail attack deals 3d12 plus 7 bludgeoning, and if the target is a creature, it must succeed on a DC 20 strength save or be pushed 10 feet away from the dragon turtle and knocked prone. And being knocked prone in front of these guys is not a good thing to do. Its bite attack deals 3d12 plus 7 piercing damage, and the claws now deal 2d8 plus 7 slashing damage. Their breath weapon's range jumps up to a nasty 60 feet and deals a whopping 15 d6 of fire damage, and half of that on a successful DC 18 Constitution saving throw. And finally, we have the final stage in the dragon turtle lifespan, the ancient dragon turtle. These gargantuan creatures have a staggering 22 AC and 409 hit points. Ancient dragon turtles have a challenge rating of 24, and this is equivalent to the likes of an ancient red or gold dragon. It also gains resistance to cold as well as fire damage, and it also gains the blessing of the sea actions, and these are crazy. If the dragon turtle would be reduced to 0 hit points, its current hit point total instead resets to 350 hit points, and it recharges its steam breath. Additionally, the dragon turtle can now use the options in the mythic actions section for 1 hour. When you see an ancient dragon turtle with these abilities, you essentially think of like an Elden Ring boss that has like 3 stages in the fight. This is like the ancient dragon turtle's second boss phase. When the blessing is active, the dragon turtle can use the following traits as legendary actions. It gains the ability to make a bite attack, but also at the cost of 2 legendary actions, it can use the Armor of the Storms action, where lightning temporarily surrounds the dragon turtle and it gains 40 temporary hit points until the start of its next turn. Until all these temporary hit points are gone, any creature that touches the dragon turtle or hits it with a melee attack takes 4d12 lightning damage. Its bite attack also deals a 1d12 plus 9 piercing and 2d12 lightning on top of that, and the claws deal 2d8 plus 9 slashing damage. The tail attack deals 2d10 plus 9 bludgeoning damage, and if the target is a creature, it must succeed on a DC 24 strength saving throw or be knocked prone. And the breath weapon. Oh boy, the breath weapon. It deals 15 d8 fire damage in a 90-foot cone, and each creature in the cone must make a DC 24 Constitution saving throw. A DC 24 con, that's a tough DC to beat, and they take half damage on a success. Of course, with this guy being ancient, it will get its legendary actions and resistances. The ancient turtle has 3 resistances to spend in one day, as well as 3 legendary actions to spend each round. One of the actions it can use being an attack with its claws or tail, and another one giving it the ability to move on other people's turns, and if it is swimming, it does not provoke opportunity attacks. It also gains a legendary action called Boiling Aura. At the cost of 3 actions, the dragon turtle radiates intense heat until the start of the dragon turtle's next turn. Whenever a creature starts its turn within 20 feet of the turtle, the creature must succeed on a DC 24 con save or take 9d8 fire damage. That's just from being in its radius. That's just from being near it. If you're running a campaign that prioritizes sailing on the ocean or an entirely ocean-based campaign, these guys are a must to add in your campaign, I feel. You could have a very well-known ship that's disappeared out in the ocean, and you and your ship are sent out to find the wreckage, only to find that it's been taken by a dragon tail. Or your ship notices a small island off in the distance, only to find the island seems to be keeping pace and gaining on you. And now you and your crew have to decide to fight or flee. These guys are my all-time favorite monsters in D&D. I just love the art style of them and just the concept of them. I think they're amazing. So if I get a chance to, I'm putting these in my campaign. And that is all I have for you guys today on the Dragon Turtle. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all found this video helpful. And if there's anything else about the Dragon Turtle that I've missed, I would love to hear about it in the comments below. I'll leave a link to all the websites I've used for my research on this topic so you guys can read through them yourselves. If you guys have any suggestions for monsters I should cover next, let me know in the comments below and I will add your comment at the end of the next video. You can find links to all my socials down below to keep up to date with the videos. Thank you all again, and I'll see you all in the next one.